Hello, everyone. This is Rachel Grunn from Good Investing, and I'm joined by my partner.
Andrea Slick.
We are recording this because we have a really exciting new offering for our investors.
Yeah, so we are partnering with Texas Vineyards, and we have something that we've actually never brought to our investors, and it's a different concept. It's super exciting because we heard from our investors that they wanted more opportunities to diversify, and this definitely qualifies for that. So we are going to explain the investment, and we're also going to explain the returns. And then we want to invite you to watch our webinar or watch the recording where we'll go into more details about the deal.
So overview, we are syndicating a Texas vineyard. This is really interesting because it's not real estate, right? But it is a hard asset because we're purchasing land and we are preparing that land to plant vines, which will then grow grapes that we will then harvest and sell to distributors. So we are not investing in the business of making the wine. We're investing in the business.
Unfortunately, no, just kidding.
Never say never,
Yeah.
but right now,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But we are investing in the business of growing grapes to then distribute. And we'll get into the nitty gritty. But essentially, there's a huge supply gap from the demand, especially in Texas, for wine. There is so much more demand than there is supply. So we're coming in with state-of-the-art tools and systems in order to kind of fill that gap in a cost-effective way. And we're bringing on investors to partner with us in this acquisition. And it is unlike anything we've ever done before. Even the return structure is really, really fascinating. So let's get into that really quickly. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to pull up here. Where did it go? Okay. So these are the investor returns, which are really interesting. So in the first 10 years, we are projecting 211 to 276% return. So if you invest $100,000, that means you're getting back in profit between $211 to $276,000, right? Projected.
Yep.
That is
So
not including your original investment.
yeah, I'll just hop in. Like sometimes our investors are used to like that 2x model that we talk about in multifamily. So just to clarify, this is like a 2.1x and 2.76x return.
Actually, it would be a 3.1x and a 3.76x.
Even better.
Just to blow your minds a little bit, because 100% return is a 2x, right? So a 200+% return would be a 3x multiplier. So that means your total return, if you invested $100,000, that means including your original investment would be $311,000 to $376,000 projected over 10 years. But it gets better because actually we can discover infinite returns through this investment model. Because when investors invest in this vineyard, it's going to continue replanting for really eternity. That's the business plan, right? Is to continue to replant every 25 years. So our investors are not only experiencing that initial 3x multiplier on their money in the first 10 years, but then after that, it's projecting infinite returns between 16 to 19% per year every year. I mean, it's a pretty kind of awesome retirement plan. So the average annual cash on cash over the lifetime of the deal would be 21 to 28% year on year.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, obviously it is a harvest. It is a different type of investment. So, when we talk about infinite returns, year 11 to 23, maybe some years there is less than others, but that's just, projected returns that we talk about. Some years maybe there's nothing, but then on the next year, maybe there is.
Yes.
So anyways, it's just something to, keep in mind, but it is a different offering that we have offered before, because it's not a typical multifamily where it's like 4 to 6 years and then we sell. This is really like a legacy investment. So I know for me and my family, a strategy is to buy, to invest in this with our trust so that then it could be a legacy play that's carried down to, our kids as well.
Mhm. Yes, exactly. So if you were to invest $100,000, you could expect projected average, like Andrea said, average across all the years, anywhere between $21,000 to $28,000 every year in passive cash flow average across the deal, just to kind of put that in hard numbers. So let's look at this year on year visual. So this is based on a $100,000 investment. Year one. So what's really interesting about this specific fund that we are investing in is that we are actually planting the vines this week. So usually investors invest in the summertime. This only happens once a year, this investment. Usually they invest in the summertime, and it's not until the next spring that the vines are planted, but they're being planted right now. So that means you're going to realize that bonus depreciation year one. And then year two is going to be a small cash flow. Year three, we're not projecting any, because remember, those grapes are growing. We're not seeing that profit until the grapes are grown and harvested. Year four is when we start doing our first harvest. So you'll see year 4 through 7, we're getting really good cash on cash returns annualized. Year 8 is the refi. This is where you're going to get back your return on your capital, or you're going to get back all of your capital plus a return. And then year 9 and year 10, good cash flow. And then you can see how that total return kind of plays into the first 10 years. And then after that, again, we're expecting that 21 to 28% annualized cash flow in perpetuity.
Yeah, and then just to break it down a little bit more for our investors, the cool part about this investment is it's not just like we're all investing in the land, right? It's like really we're investing in the business of growing the grapes. So as business increases, so will investor returns. And then it's kind of like an all-inclusive, offering where you get as you get everything from the business and returns from the business. And then once it continues, like past those 10 years, you're still getting those returns.
Exactly. And with crops and harvesting and farming, there is the risk of catastrophic damage through an act of God, a freeze, pests, bugs, pests, all those sorts of things. So we actually carry a super, super expensive insurance policy. It's like an $800,000 per year insurance policy that's already factored into the underwriting and already factored into our expenses. And that insures our crops. So if anything were to happen, an F5 tornado came through and just wiped everything out, we would be insured. So it wouldn't be a total catastrophic loss. So just to give our investors peace of mind. But Andrea, unless you had anything else to add, I was going to talk about our webinar.
Yeah, I would just add one more thing. You've met Mason and, we know Keely. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on the partnership here, because our investors know us very well, but they don't necessarily know who we're partnering with and what their, background is. So if you can give a little bit about that, just a couple minutes.
Yes, exactly. So they are no stranger to this industry. Keely and her dad Tracy, who if you attend our webinar or watch it back, you'll get to meet them, and Mason Moreland. They have all gone in together with their own personal funds on a vineyard investment and built it from the ground up. And they did this to work out the kinks on their own without investor money. And they've been doing that for many years, and it's been super successful. So Mason is really boots on the ground. He lives close to where these are going to be in the high plains of Texas. So he lives pretty close to where these vineyards are being tilled and bought. So he's boots on the ground, super knowledgeable guy. If you watch our webinar back, you'll see he's very granular. He does all the underwriting. And then Keely and Tracy, again, are more focused on like the business operations side, land acquisition, those sorts of things. But they have a great track record of success in this industry.
Perfect. Okay, yeah,
Awesome.
let's
So
talk about the webinar.
yes, so we have our webinar April 6th at 7 p.m. Central Time. If you're watching this before then, click the link below that's going to be in the description of this video to register. If you're watching this after April 6th, that link will actually be a recording of our webinar. So regardless of when you're looking at this, check out the description, click on that link. And then again, if you are interested, this investment is open for anyone and everyone. this is a 506B offering, which means that we are accepting non-accredited investors as well, which is super exciting. And again, if the minimums, so I believe the minimum on this one is 75,000. If the minimum's a barrier of entry for you, reach out anyway, because we have partnered with TribeVest to make sure that, you know, all of our investors are able to invest in our offerings. So definitely get in touch if you're interested, and we'll go from there.